Good morning and welcome to another edition of PowerTalk. My name is Patrice Harris and I am the Corporate Communications Manager at SKELEC. PowerTalk is a radio program brought to you by the St. Kitts Electricity Company Limited, where we share with you the latest happenings of the company. For the next couple of months on PowerTalk, we are going to be featuring some departments and topics that you typically might not have paid much attention to as it relates to SKELEC. And today I am joined by two gentlemen, one of which has joined me already, but I'm going to allow both of them to introduce themselves to our PowerTalk listeners.
Good morning, my name is Dwyer Edmead. I'm the IT manager for SKELEC. I've been at the company for ever.
Forever is not a duration, Dwyer.
Yeah, but I've been at the company from 2005 up until present.
Oh, wow.
So I would have seen all of the transitions from old to new to not so new, so. But I'm here to, give an update on whatever it is we need to know about SKELEC.
Wonderful. And we have another guest who has joined us virtually. I'm going to allow him to introduce himself.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I hope you guys can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. You're a bit low on our end, so we'll try to get that up, but we can hear you.
Okay, good morning, Doya. Good morning, Patrice. Good morning to the listeners out there in Radio Land and all other media platforms. My name is Trevor Baker. I am the Assistant IT Manager at SKELEC. I joined SKELEC in you could say, early part of 2021. So I don't have much years as Dwyer, but I work in terms of the networks, the servers, infrastructure, and so on.
All right, thank you for joining us, Trevor. So sad that you can't be in the studio with us, but technology has allowed us to facilitate your involvement this morning. And that is exactly what we're going to be discussing this morning. What is the role of ICT, information communication technology, in the energy sector? So how we're going to break down this topic, we're going to start by discussing, and this is where Dwyer is going to come in, we're going to start by discussing some of the technical improvements, especially as it relates to IT, that came out of the St. Kitts Electricity Department, SKED, before we transitioned into SKELEC, and some of the changes we would have made, what that infrastructure would have looked like.
Yes, and thank you, Patrice. So prior to the launch of SKELEC in 2011, I was able to work at the electricity department for the first 6 years or so. And then I would have seen quite a bit of the way that things were done back then, especially in terms of like our application forms. When you're applying for electricity, everything was a manual process. And once we got there and we got on the ground, one of the things I started doing was trying to find ways to improve, the application form and the application process.
When you say manual, meaning the rep will have to sit down with the person and physically...
That is correct.
Write it out?
Yes, you bring in all your documents and the rep sit down and write every line by line,
That must have been tedious.
Yes. And as a result of that, sometimes that's where you find application forms would go missing or documents would go missing because, the process is a little bit more tedious. And we were able to improve on that by going a little bit more digital. So we created some forms, we took all the forms, we created them and make them soft copies. So customers were able to come in, sit down, they could have even, with the website, you go online, you fill out your information on the website, send it in and it goes straight to customer service. They get a heads up as to what you're going to do before you get there, and they're able to fill the application form before you can even step foot into SKELEC. So that process has made it a lot easier for customers. We still have the walk-ins, and even with the walk-ins, the customers are able, the CSRs are able to fill an application form easily because it's digital. So they just get on, ask the questions, boom, boom, the application is printed at the end, and the customer is on the way. So it makes things a lot easier for the customers and the
representatives as well,
yes.
because it takes less time.
Yes, indeed.
So outside of the application forms, what else did we transition?
In addition to that, one of the things that I always mention is the fact that the company, the electricity department was very small at the time, because I think at the time we had maybe about 17 or so computers within the department. In 2005 up to 2010, we had a limited amount of computers, so you only had maybe about 3 customer service reps and 3 cashiers. And we had to do some work in terms of transitioning the little area, the little space that we had into something that's workable for all, right? So we bought in some new equipment, we bought in new computers, and then we started opening up the space. The design of the company at the time is not what it was then. You probably had maybe that small entrance area at the what we call the foyer, as soon as you come to the main door. That little area was the cashiers.
Okay.
And if you look at where we are now, you know, that space is triple the size, right? So those were some of the improvements. In terms of the network, we also started out very small, but if you look at us now, we span 5 locations, right, Trevor? 5 locations.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
So from 17 computers to a network spanning 5 locations.
That's right. So we have quite a bit of devices on the network now. And Trevor will speak a little bit more towards that, because he has been the guy behind most of the improvements over the last year. Because one of the things that we did, we broke down our entire network and we rebuilt it. Because we got to move with the time.
For those persons who are looking at the program on Facebook or YouTube, I'm sure you can see the big smile on Dwyer's face, because this makes Dwyer so excited to talk about how we broke it down and how he was able to, like, they're real IT geeks. Just don't mind, they look so cool. Trevor and Dwyer are real IT geeks.
Yes.
So yes, Dwyer, tell us about when you broke down the network and you built it back up.
Yes, so in 2020, we
21.
Yeah, before that's right. Prior to starting the breakdown, we did an assessment on the network in 2020, and after that I found that our network was built between 2005 and 2020. We added pieces in between, but almost every year you find that there are some improvements to some of the devices that we have on our network. Switches are improved, they're much better. We got better firewalls out there, and those are some of the things Trevor will touch on. Now, we breaking down the network. After doing the assessment, we broke down the network section by section. So we spoke about the 5 locations that we have. Each one of the locations we are now able to manage all of them, as opposed to having this wide open network where we can only see this end, and if we want to do anything up on the other end, we have to go there physically. No,
so it's a lot more centralized now.
Yes, everything is now a lot more centralized. So Trevor, I'm going to let you chime in now on that one and speak a little bit more on the network we design.
Sure, no problem. Before I begin, I just want to let you guys know I'm getting a bit of feedback on my end, so it sounds kind of funny, but I'll work with it regardless.
Okay.
So I don't have 16 years of experience in SKELEC as lawyer. I must say that, like I mentioned, I started in early 2021. So I can only give an account of those who've been here for the years. And in terms of technical improvements, I must say that we have definitely improved a lot. In terms of when Dwyer told me that they had operations only on a single floor, and he alone, as the sole IT officer at the time, was able to expand the infrastructure from a single floor to multiple floors, and now to 5 sites. So you could see there that we have definitely done a lot of improvements on the network. Not just in terms of the technical improvements, but also in terms of the IT infrastructure. Because at that time, again, like I said, it was Dwyer alone, and now we have 5 team members, Dwyer, myself, and 3 junior technicians. And Patrice, I want to pause for a second here.
Yes, you got to stick up in your head.
Because Yesterday, our junior technicians did the Network Plus
certification
exam.
Yes.
Certification, right?
Yes.
And they all passed.
Yay!
Yeah, Jack won. Itelo and Devon, congratulations, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you.
Basically, sorry?
Congratulations to them.
That's correct. That's true. So there has been some expansion, again, based on others' account, in terms of the IT infrastructure, the human resource, and of course, our goal is to reduce the skill gap between the team members.
That is a very, very optimistic and well-deserved goal, because we always have to ensure that we are building the capacity of our staff in every way possible. The program is going by so much quicker than I imagined that it would have, and I really want us to touch on the role of IT in energy production. Now, I know persons might understand an IT department in a company to be the one that sets up the computers or the printers or mostly the projectors, but I want the public to have an understanding of how important IT, information communication technology, is in energy production and the energy sector. So can both of you speak to that?
Okay, I'll start there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so as everyone knows, SKELEC is not an IT company. We are an electricity company. And so, in my opinion, when I say the role of the IT department has been solely to provide support to the managers, the supervisors, to the engineers, all the way down to the linesmen and so on. And so we would provide support to them in terms of the hardware appliances, the software, the applications that they would use. Now, when it comes to IT, we are responsible for the acquisition, the implementation, the monitoring, the management, all the way down to the end of life of the hardware or the software that is used between the team. So, for example, suppose the finance department is interested in getting an upgrade in the software application that they use to generate reports, to do some type of financial analysis. Our team will work with them in terms of getting some type of new software implemented within the system so that they can be able to work efficiently and effectively. So all in all, our goal is to just work with the other teams so that they can be able to execute their roles and responsibilities in a more efficient and effective manner.
Thanks, Trevor. Do you want to chime in?
Not much I can say on that. Not much I can say on that because I think Trevor touched on a whole bunch of everything that we do, especially at SKELEC.
I wanted to kind of highlight the importance of, especially within SKELEC, how IT is so linked to the finance and billing process, how it really assists with the metering process, because we do have smart meters. In terms of that background end, how is IT so important to the company?
Well, without IT, I don't think any of those processes work.
Certainly.
Very simple.
Without us, none of those things work. And because we were there from the get-go, meaning we did all of the setting up and so on, we provide all of the support for all of the different departments. So in terms of metering, the smart meter software that we use, the guys provide support to the metering department. When they have any issues, they will jump on and they will do whatever it is they have to do in order to bring some, resolution to whatever problems that are out there. In terms of the billing and the finance department, we run multiple softwares in these areas, and HR is something that is new. Okay. We added the HR last year, and
yes,
that is something that we are also working towards providing support to as well. So we do a whole lot of stuff in terms of supporting each department. So sometimes you may find like we have a group of 5 IT guys. Trevor might be covering 2 locations at once. And then we have another 2 covering another 2 locations, and then we still have another 1 covering another location. So it's almost like we're everywhere.
You really are. You really are.
We're everywhere. So we do a whole lot of, and I like to commend the guys as well for that. Because at any time of the day, any time of the night, we can say, guys, can you take charge of this? There's an issue at the power plant at midnight. If the guys at SCADA say, well, we can't get to this at midnight, and they dial the extension, somebody's going to pick up. Because the guys are that dedicated to, bringing whatever resolution to any problem.
And they're just fashioning from their leader, Mr. Dwyer Edme, the ICT manager, who is literally always just a phone call away. We cannot have a conversation about the role of IT in the energy sector and not discuss cybersecurity. We are very much aware that in the Caribbean in general, there's so much work that needs to be done to improve our online space and how we operate in the online space, and more particularly cybersecurity. So I don't know if any out of Dwyer and Trevor, either of you want to chime in as to the importance of that, what does that mean, and a bit of how SKELEC operates in that realm.
Okay, Trevor, I'm going to go first.
Yeah,
one of the things that I came to realize last year, when the pandemic started in 2020, was that the amount of traffic that we had on the network just between the lockdown period increased about 200%.
Oh, wow.
When I say the traffic increased, there were more hits on our network between that period in 2020 when the pandemic started. Because
I wonder why is that?
Everybody was working from home, so yeah, so it opened up our network to a whole lot of vulnerabilities, and which is why we end up rebuilding the network so quickly, right? And outside of that, I had a seminar with SKELEC, which is one of Caribbean utilities companies that governs most utilities in the Caribbean. And one of the things that came out of that seminar was the fact that most of the countries in the Caribbean are supported by what we call a cybersecurity policy. Now, once I found that out, I was able to reach out to some of them and trying to get an understanding as to how they were able to implement something like that. But in my research, I found that we, here in St. Kitts, we were not up to that point. We do not have a cybersecurity policy. There is a white paper, from what I understand, but there is not a policy to say that these are the standards that would, govern all things IT within St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, inside of SKELEC, we do our best to try to protect the company as much as we can. We can install as many firewalls, we can install as many switches, as many security appliances, but that doesn't stop someone if they really need to get in. They want to get in, they always try to find a way to get in.
And last year we did have our staff sensitization sessions.
Yes, we did.
Where we taught our staff to be better users of the technology and how to operate safe online, in the recognizing that we are the sole utility provider in St. Kitts, so they can't click on random links and and so forth. Okay, so Trevor, let's hear
Trevor, the one that sent out the test links and all that kind of stuff. So Trevor will speak to that.
Right. So as Dora mentioned, since the start of the pandemic, a lot of companies have been shifting towards an online presence as a means of business continuity, of course, because everything was all locking down and so. And SKELEC is no exception to this. We actually had to have our workers or our employees working within, the cloud, so to speak, the VPN, so that they can continue doing their roles and responsibilities. And so what we did is, I guess you could look at the 3 pillars in terms of addressing information security as we started rolling out these services for internal employees. The first thing we did was the infrastructure. As Dwyer mentioned, we redesigned the network. So we have now I don't want to talk too technical, but I guess if I said to say, we now have a single gateway A single gateway basically allows us to funnel our internal and external traffic to a single point. Why we have that is allows us to not only monitor the traffic from that single point, but also control. And at that single gateway, known as the edge, at that single gateway, we're able to deploy multiple security appliances from firewalls, IPS, etc., etc. And all this is going to allow us to be able to have a better control of our network in seeing what's coming in and what's going out.
Okay, so what's number two?
Okay, so the next thing we did was actually, and this is still in the draft phase, by the way, but we actually started working on our internal information security policy. And this acts as like our internal IT law, so to speak. So it will basically dictate to our users what they are allowed and not allowed to do when it comes to interacting with the hardware and software that we provide them. It basically polices the operations within the network. And then the last thing we looked at was, well, this is more of a passive implementation, but it's social norms. So we have persons monitoring other persons. For example, if one colleague notices another colleague is violating the policy, going on a certain website or trying to install prohibited applications, they would alert their supervisor, the manager, or even IT as well, in terms of the person who is violating the policy. And so these three pillars are what allows us to manage our network properly, which is the infrastructure, the policy that we're working on, and very close to finalization, and of course social norms is there as well.
Well, Trevor, I'm so happy to learn of the efforts that the IT department is taking to help to minimize these threats, both internally and externally. So I always boast and say that SKELEC is quite an innovative company, and I've always been a fan of the IT department and the work that it does, and that is why I felt it was important to bring the team here this morning to discuss the role of IT in the energy sector. We're almost out of time, but I always ensure that there is at least 5 minutes to entertain, facilitate any callers who might want to join in the conversation and ask a question, provide some input. So the phone lines are open. Do we have a caller? All right, good morning, caller. You are live.
Good morning, Miss Electric.
Good morning, sir.
And company. I have one little suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
When you leave in Keon, heading towards Atlas, Molyneux and Lodge, right in front of Windsor University, there is a street light on the seaside of the road. The lamp needs a little adjusting, a little shifting, because it spots directly in the driver's face.
Oh, really? Okay, I'll have the planning team look into that. Thank you so much for letting us know.
Okay, thank you. I'll switch off. Click.
Do we have any more callers, JQ? Good morning, caller. You're live.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
Wonderful. I don't know if you could answer my question. If not, I would like you to tell somebody to come on the ear so people who have genuine questions could answer the question, please.
Okay.
I have a few problems with SKELEC, such as rules and regulations that they are just saying as they go without written regulation. I also have a problem with individuals going around and cutting trees on the HC line. Could you answer that question if I ask about that?
Well, I certainly would love for you to ask the question so that I can get the response for you.
I realize that there are individuals going around and cutting trees from on the HC line who doesn't have any idea about electricity. And I can tell you that if you are 2 feet away from an HC wire or even a tree going down to an HC wire, it could be very dangerous because that electricity threw me out of a tree already. Just the wire didn't touch it. And those are concerns. I have other concerns, but I would like the official. I would like the manager and the chairman of the board to come on here because they have some questions to ask them which you cannot answer. But those are my two main concerns because you know what? people are going to get killed. Electricity is not something to play around. If you look at going up to Beaufort right now, trees are growing up and touching the 11,000 volt line. That could not happen 15 years ago. Although you all claim that you have a better system now, because there was a group that goes around and cut trees.
All right, caller, thank you. Thank you. I have taken notes of your questions, and the general manager has joined me on here several times. Usually when he's here, nobody calls to ask these questions, which is quite interesting. But I am going to forward these questions to the relevant managers so we can get the responses for you. And I assure you that we are aware that electricity is it's a very dangerous business, the production and maintenance of electricity. And so we ensure that health and safety is one of our #1 priorities. Okay, Jiggy, do we have any more callers? This will be the last one. Good morning, caller.
Oh, good morning, my Prime Minister.
Hi, Lulu. How are you?
I was trying to get the number the other night to call it, but anyway, it's something else. I make a complaint to Baby last year and you. But we'll talk about that next time.
Come and get in trouble here.
You say this time for you. I want to say good morning to you all. You know, I got to call the bigger party. Mr. Dwyer. Dwyer.
Hello.
You still have those little wires in your room?
Huh?
You still have those little wires, so you used to work on every day in your office.
Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere.
I just want to say good morning to all of you.
All right.
Thank you for your service. Big up all those girls I left down there. I don't know so much people. And fact, people never don't get when I left, but I know from a long time in the village and my daughters and her mother. Want to bring up Miss, what's her name, Miss Williams and the manager and the other one who used to do the music with the barbecue, Roger, and Keisha. All my girls I left on the market, everybody, those who cash with Ronald, with Roger, and Miss Small up in America, I can't forget her. And all the other girls down there, and to your wife to be, thank you, and the baby. I'm waiting for the cake, you know, and the little dance. I'm waiting for you, know. But anyway, I don't talk to her from the time she looks for protection. Don't be ready, you know. You know, the day she white Sunday, and I was looking for you, think you're coming up the aisle.
Oh my God.
Anyway, just to be a little too.
All right.
Thanks for calling, Lulu. Thank you.
Thank you all for your service and big up yourself.
All right.
All right, darling, bye.
Okay, thank you to all of our callers for this morning. We're going to wrap up the program now, and I'm going to have Dwyer and Trevor share their final tidbits as it relates to the role of role of IT in energy production, especially in SKELEC. And maybe there's one thing that they want to share, but if they don't share it, I'll be happy to share it.
No, I'll let you share it, because I think one of my talking points for the wrap up would have been to send congratulations to my guys, the team, for their hard work over the last couple of months in terms of attaining their certification. And remind them that it doesn't stop there, because we have a plan in terms of what we want the guys are, where we want them to be as it relates to the work that they do. So I've already mentioned to Trevor when he came in last year that was the plan, to get them certified as far up as they can go. So our goal really for our 5-year plan is to have them move up a level at least every year.
That sounds
right?
good.
So that would have been my wrap up for today.
So you're like one of those students, you can't alter the plan that you had.
No, I can't alter the plan. No, I have to stick to it.
You're an IT guy, you must find ways to maneuver. Okay, Trevor, how about you? Your wrap up for this morning.
Well, I don't have much to say. Like Joy said, I just want to congratulate the guys again once again, because when I heard that they passed, I said, for those who are not aware, I'm actually at home. I'm in the office right now. And when I got the news that they passed, I was so excited for these guys. And big up to them, congratulations guys, and don't stop there. There's always more doors for you guys to open. Whether it be IT or another, keep persevering and keep working hard.
Thank you, Trevor. And I would like to join in by expressing my congratulations to the team. These guys are really dedicated, and they're super young as well. They're quite ambitious, and they have two great leaders who really works to push them both. So I know that this is not the end for them. So congratulations to the entire IT department. We are going to be launching a new website really soon. The communications department and the IT department has been working for how long, Doyle? A bit too long. And we are launching a website that is a lot more chic, a lot more user-friendly, a lot more modern, a lot more dynamic. And we look forward to our customers being able to utilize this website, get online, get in the digital space, because SKELEC is one of the most innovative companies around, and we take pride in all of the ways that we are able to serve our customers in a more enhanced way to improve their convenience, to ensure that our services are much more convenient for them. So thank you for tuning in to today's program. It's Love Month, it's the best month, it's Black History Month, and SKELEC will have a lot happening. So by the time I get back, you'll hear all about what SKELEC would have done. On Monday, we distributed love baskets to about 6 or 7 of our former employees throughout the island. We just wanted to send some love and show them our appreciation for the work that they would have put into the company. Thanks for tuning in. You know where to find me and how to find me and how to find SKELEC. We're right on Central Street. Pop in if you have any questions. Have a great day, and remember, SKELEC is the nation's leading utility provider, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Bye-bye.